Hey, this is Robert with Sigma 3 Survival School, and we're out doing a little hiking and exploring in southern Missouri today. And I wanted to show y'all a quick primitive trap that can be thrown up in no time that has little to no carving in it. All you need is about 3 sticks of about anywhere about a foot long. You need one, this is your trigger stick. Your rope will attach here, and then you have another notch down here at the bottom where your actual trigger stick will attach to, where the snare sets over. And then you've got 2 posts. And I'll show you exactly what this is all about here in a second. This is one of the versions of 2 different types of T-bar snares that I use, and we're going to set this particular one up on a spring pole. If you've watched a lot of my primitive trapping videos, you know that I like a deadfall instead of a spring pole most of the time, but in this situation, spring pole's a little bit better for this spot, so we're going to go ahead and show you a demo on that. So next thing we're going to do is prep our spring pole, and we're going to set our posts in the ground and get our trigger set up. Alright, I've got the spring pole set up, and one thing that you're going to want to look for in any kind of spring pole is something that's not real green. It can be a little bit green, but you know, in wintertime like this, there's still some spring in them, even if they are alive, but you definitely want to test it. And most of the time, I'll chop the limbs off the top and so forth so that there's nothing that can catch in the rise action. You want to make sure it's plenty tall, so that you get enough lift, depending on what kind of animal you're going after. You know, if you're going after something like a coon that might be a little bit taller, you want to make sure that that animal is completely off the ground so that it can't chew through the cordage. Basically all I did was attach a line to the spring pole. You want to have this pretty close, and you want the spring pole to bend almost all the way down to the actual trap so that you get the most rise out of it. And then right underneath that I attached the snare line, which is about a 3-foot piece of trot line cordage. That's about a typical length for any type of snare that you're going to do, is about 2.5 to 4 feet long, depending on the size of the animal and the length of the spring pole. So the first thing we're going to do in setting this up is, obviously to find our location. One of the most important things in trapping is making sure that you're putting these traps in the proper location. This is in between, it's on a cliff line, and there's a creek about 10 yards away, so it's a natural funnel, and the animal is forced to parallel along the creek and in between the cliff line. So this is a good place to put a baited trap because it's a good funnel, and he's going to end up coming through here and smelling this and wanting to investigate it. So when you're setting this up, these are the 2 crossbars here. And then you've got, this is where your trigger is going to rest against. And basically all you do, there's really almost no carving with this. You don't have to do any carving at all if you don't want. But you're going to wrap over the front, not the back. And that's got constant tension. And we're going to go ahead and set our trigger here. And basically, you just prop it up against this stick right here and right there, and then you're ready to set your snare. And snares are real simple. If you don't know how to do one, it's just tie an overhand knot with a slight loop in it. And you want it to be, you don't want the loop to be too big. And be careful when you're doing this, because sometimes you can accidentally, trip the trigger, and these things will spring up and fly in your face. But this is the bait stick right here, and you're going to lay your snare across the bait stick. Try to get your cordage to get the best form that you possibly can get out of it, so you get a good size loop. And when you lay the bait here, the animal's going to come, and you want to tie the bait on, or you want to spear it on the actual stick so that the animal's forced to yank it off, because that's what's going to trip the trigger. And I'll show you all how this works. Let me grab my trigger straight. So, the animal comes along, he smells your bait, hits the trigger, and then it jerks him up off the ground. And that is one variation on a baited T-bar snare, and we're also going to show another version, so check out that video as well.